The KCGT Stage 2 lasted for 3 days, and after that the top 128 players advanced to the main tournament, which is replacing the World Championship for Duel Links this year. In the event I used Burning Abyss, and without having to play day 3, I finished 17th with a 70% win rate. I was 4th at the end of day 2, but since I didn't see much point in pushing for a gold icon, I just chilled where I was, since after all, the goal for me was top 128, not top 10. The build that I used was definitely not standard, and with no further ado, enjoy. The most popular skill for BA is Mind of the Planar, because you far for effect banish their monster, and although it would normally return in the end phase, you can use Mind of the Planar to pretty much delete it. But I used Destiny Draw instead of Planar. Planar is certainly strong and does win a lot of games, but I found that a lot of the games I was losing were when I was being spammed by a bunch of big monsters, and Planar deleting one of those doesn't really achieve a lot. But with D-Draw, if the opponent makes a big push and gives you D-Draw, then you can draw into Levy, Tour Guide, Econ, that sort of thing. Or, if they don't attack to not trigger Destiny Draw, then you have more time to draw into what you need anyway, which is one of the main reasons as to why I use free Levianeer. Levy in general I think is really strong in Burning Abyss, and a lot of people came to realise that in the KCGT. Against DDD, you cannot always win with just Burning Abyss cards, which is where Levy helps a lot. Levianeer is also good in the mirror match because it is larger than 2500. Which is the same reason as to why I use Gaia Charger. The main reason to play Gaia Charger is so that in the mirror match, when you Econ take their Beatrice, you can slap Gaia Charger on top of it. Also, just turning your own Beatrice with no materials into a Gaia Charger helps a lot too. Getting clogged by your own Beatrice is quite often what leads inexperienced Burning Abyss players to lose through deck out in the mirror match. So what I would often do is kind of trick my opponent into thinking I didn't know what I was doing, by clogging my field with Beatrice and Levianeer, and then putting Gaia Charger over the Beatrice becomes really effective. So with Gaia Charger alongside free Levianeer as well as Econ, losing to deck out in the mirror match becomes a lot less likely. I used Gaia Charger instead of playing Nightmare Shark, which might seem odd because if you've seen other Burning Abyss builds, most of them tend to play Nightmare Shark. Nightmare Shark is useful for most Burning Abyss builds, but with this build a lot of the time Levianeer is how you push for damage anyway. Although Nightmare Shark is very good, in the mirror match I found Gaia to be more useful, since everybody in Burning Abyss plays Kyroid, so they can just stop your Nightmare Shark attack. Breaksword felt very important because Farther is once per turn and sometimes you want to clear 2 monsters or a back row plus a monster. Hand traps are really good in Burning Abyss with Planar, and they are even better with Destiny Draw. Alongside the Kyroid that we often send from deck to grave with Beatrice, I also use free White Princess. This card is amazing and helps a lot in almost every matchup. It is also a light monster for Levianeer, since we don't want to always be banishing Dante. Given how strong hand traps are with Destiny Draw, I didn't think that 4 was enough, so I played Temperance because it is both a hand trap and also a light monster for Levianeer. There were also games I won where my opponent would use their Econ to flip my monster into attack mode, and then swing into it with a really big monster for lethal, and then Temperance saves you. You can tell when your opponent has White Princess most of the time by reading the Hourglass delays properly, but you can't tell when they have Temperance until it's too late. Skill Prisoner is important in the mirror match. I think playing at least 1 Descend with Beatrice is good. It helps against DDD for Ragnarok and the Galaxy Eyes monsters, and it helps against other decks as well. Also, I am mainly mentioning Burning Abyss and DDD in my deck building choices, because for this event, Burning Abyss and DDD were the 2 best decks. I explained the individual BA ratios in the last video, but I will write them up anyway and put them on the screen there. And yeah, I look forward to competing in the KCGT main tournament 2022, and I'm happy to be one of the only people in the world to have qualified for all 3 KCGTs, although hopefully I don't get knocked out by Cyber Dragon 3 years in a row. Thank you to everyone for the congratulatory messages, as well as the nice feedback in the last video, and shoutouts to Grucius for being a great testing partner, and to our teammate Sunri Santi for getting first place in this stage of a KCGT. He also used Burning Abyss and had a 77% win rate. Kinda wild. Up next is the commentated gameplay. I haven't fully returned to YouTube just yet. There's more info on that in the last video, but I will do a video on that stuff when I fully return to YouTube. Enjoy the rest of this video and be sure to hit that big red button. Not that one, this one. Enjoy the gameplay. Okay, so I'm going to be showing some replays from the KCGT for this gameplay. This one is from when I was, I think, around top 10 global, but I don't remember at what point. It was on the Friday though, I think. But anyway, this is against DDD. I'm not going to be showing any Burning Abyss mirror matches because those take a long time. And you can make like an hour-long video probably of just maybe 2 Burning Abyss mirrors. So they're starting off with the standard combo here into the draw-free Gian trainer. Summoning Doom King, Thomas, pop, summon Doom King, make Gian trainer, draw 3. So at this point I actually do see a delay in between him detaching and drawing a card. So I know that means they have. It means that I know that they had a chainable card before they used the effect to draw, and because they only set 1 card, that kind of led me to believe that it was a White Princess in the hands. Because if it was a Book of Moon, they would have set 2, because we knew they drew Book of Moon off of the trainer here. But that gets destroyed. They take 1,000, adding Maxwell to hand. Quite a few people were going back to playing the Maxwell because Maxwell is very good against Burning Abyss, and we might also see more people play Maxwell going forward, of course, since Burning Abyss is now a lot more popular. We're gonna go ahead and pendulum out the Maxwell and a Doom King. Maxwell does do 2/8 PS. I'm gonna go ahead and block that with the White Princess. Then Rhino sending Scum to graveyard. They can play around D-draw by doing 400 and not attacking with a Doom King. Then I can draw for turn, summon Levineer, pop 2, Tour Guide, summon Rhino. And then I make the Beatrice in attack mode here, which seems kind of weird. But it's because the Maxwell in circulation. So if I put it in defense, it kind of becomes a massive portal to my life points with the Maxwell being there. Grabbing Ragnarok to hand. Okay, so some people quite like to use Beatrice here to banish the Ragnarok so they can't banish the monster. I never really did that in the KCGT, because if you far throw away the Ragnarok here, they have 2 level 8 still. So what I normally do is I let them tribute to banish the Beatrice, and then I chain Beatrice to send Farther, and that way I have lost the Beatrice, but like that's kind of fine at that point because they're going to attack over it anyway, or like steal it with Galaxy Eyes or something. So if it was a lot safer to just let them banish it in this scenario, rather than get the Ragnarok off the field with Farther before banish the monster. And then I did have a play for lethal here if I did White Princess first and then summoned Beatrice and attacked, because they would burn from the gate contract, but I did not do that because, as we mentioned earlier, I do think they have White Princess in the hand here, so I didn't feel like it was worth trading my White Princess for their White Princess, because if I did, I would likely lose on them the next turn. They use their White Princess here, and they fuse into Genghis. I do Farth on the summon of this, because if I don't, then as soon as they pendulum summon out, say for example Doom King or Ragnarok, they get a revive. They get a revive anyway off Ragnarok, but this means they have only 2 level 8s to work with, as opposed to having 3 level 8s to work with. So Pentiment out Ragnarok, that's going to revive the Doom King. They attack I White Princess. Yeah, so I used the White Princess there because my Beatrice was at 700 attack points. So I had to use White Princess there because otherwise I would have lost. And you can draw for Levineer. Like, having 3 Levineer in the deck is definitely very, very nice. Resolving multiple Levineer in a duel against DDD is definitely very, very strong. I do definitely like having 3 Levi in the deck. So this second replay is against Odd Eyes, which is a pretty tough matchup a lot of the time, because they have fairly easy access into Abyss Dweller. Many people were playing the Radish Horse to make Dweller and other rank 4s a lot more easily. So they begin with the Joker to add the Odd Eyes. The skill for this deck is insane. They can just put Odd Eyes to the X deck and put 2 scales out from a deck immediately. And then they can Pendulum Shokan the Odd Eyes as well as a Jonkei. Jonkei has an on-field monster effect to negate light monsters. So it can negate Dante from gaining attack, but not from milling, because Dante mills for cost. It can negate Beatrice though, which is pretty good. So not a great mill there, but it sets up Levineer at least. So they chain Econ in response to take the Dante, because they think they have lethal. But we have Ketroid in hand to protect from the attacks. And we also get Destiny Draw now here as well for any card in the deck. And I D-draw for Scam, because I realised that I already have Tour Guide in the graveyard, because we milled Tour Guide with Dante. But it doesn't matter, because it's not lethal, but with this play here we can clear their entire field by doing Levy to clear the scales, make Beatrice, crash into Jonkei, Beatrice 1, Dante 2, CF3. That brings out Dante, we get to summon a Virgil from the extra deck, crash into the Odd Eyes, we get a free draw here as well, which is pretty nice, attack for 1000, and then yeah, pretty much they're at 0 cards here, which is where I went for this play. It was not a lethal play that turn, I'm pretty sure, but this put them on 0 cards, and even if I top deck the Joker, I have Skill Prisoner in the graveyard to kind of negate any rank 4 effect, like the Spider or the Dark Rebellion, that sort of thing. They do use their plot armor though to top deck the Joker and grab the Radish Horse to make the instant rank 4 monster. But as I mentioned, I do have the Skill Prisoner in the graveyard to stop the Dark Rebellion, and then yeah, that's pretty much GG. They have nothing else to do really. And yeah, we're going to go ahead and move on into the third and final replay. This replay I think was from the Friday. The one that I showed at the start was from the Saturday. I got that mixed up. So open an all monster hand here. Make Dante. I do detach here because I want to get the Scam Search in the end phase. That was a pretty good mill as well. Yeah, at one point in the KCGT I was playing Cyclone because I could send it with it just to pop stuff like Shadow Imprisoning Mirror or Pendulum Scales and that sort of thing. Playing one of it is definitely still quite nice. But anyway, yeah, going to Beatrice, and in the end phase we do not Scam Search Tour Guide here because we already have a normal summon monster in the hand, whereas if we had both this and Tour Guide, we can only summon one of the next turn. So I think when I have Rhino in the hand, the best thing to grab is almost always Rubik, because it's just a free name to summon onto the field, and also gives you the option of making Virgil if you want to as well. So Pendulum summon the Pencil Sharpener, and the Thomas and Ragnarok. So once again I let them do Ragnarok, but this time I Skill Prisoner to protect the Beatrice. They chain Book of Moon on Beatrice, which is kind of odd. I think they probably thought that it would stop Beatrice, but it doesn't. Or they possibly thought that by booking it, it would not be protected from skill prisoner, which is also not true. But regardless, it does still force me to use the effects of Beatrice. So I send Kite Road here, which is because I have the Seer effect to go into Farther anyway. And I clip Thomas here because they had already used the effects of Ragnarok this turn. And this one in the scale is of course negated from the skill. We're going to Econ take the Rhino here. Seer revive Dante. And back Scarm. Into another Beatrice. And I pop a scale, and then I use Rhino effect to send Farther, that banish that attack for 2/5 with the other Beatrice, and then they'll be burned for 1,000 in their standby phase from their own contracts. And yeah, there we go. There's only a few replays that I had. I didn't save all of the gameplay that I had over the weekend. Some of the better duels I had, I think, were probably the mirror matches, but those were very, very long. And I think most people probably wouldn't want to watch a extensively long Burning Abyss mirror match. But yeah, thank you for watching. Have a perfectly balanced rest of your day. There may even be a TCG video up if I do well at the UK Nationals this weekend, but that will only be if I top UK Nationals. But yeah, thank you again for watching. Have a perfectly balanced rest of your day, and see you in the next video, which will be at some point, probably in the next week or two. Again, I have not fully returned to YouTube just yet, but yeah, thank you all, and goodbye.